At what point in your life did you see this spark for reaching out and touching the lives of so many girls?
Um, I mean, hello everybody. My name is Abisoye, and I'm I'm actually taking my time because I get these questions like every day, every time, and thank you for inviting me here today. So, well, technology was actually my own personal journey. Was my own bedrock. I was practically trying to run away from life and what life was actually throwing at me, and I found myself in the tech space. And with the world of programming, really, it's a different world where you just bury yourself in different problems and trying to figure things out. So I felt I can run from the reality and get into something different while still being on the surface of the earth. So even though I didn't know I'll be doing what I'm doing today, while I was doing that, I just thought it's an escape route. Just be there, figuring things out. I mean, I was in that space for about 7 years before I started what I'm doing today. And why am I doing what I'm doing? Why girls coding? I felt it gave me a voice. It gave me, I can say, a reason to live, to want to live, because life was really terrible and everything. So, I mean, I don't know. You may not know where I'm coming from, but I tell the girls that I work with that have been in their shoes, where, they can be one out of many children. Their father may be violent. They may not have parents. I've been in their shoes. And so it was more or less what can work or what works. So if technology was able to work for me, I feel it should work for them. Is it possible for it to give them a form of economic independence? Yes, because I was able to get it from there. So why I'm doing what I'm doing is really my personal journey, my personal story, and I believe it's something that works. And that's why, I decided to go in. Doesn't mean the work is easy. Definitely not. It's not the easiest form of work, but does it give satisfaction? Definitely yes. So I don't know. What that question is that?
Well, when did you start? What were the first steps in the process?
Fantastic. When I was starting that, actually, I was talking to people about working with underserved girls, and I mean, on the road, I mean, we call it Silicon Valley of Nigeria, which is Yaba in Lagos, Nigeria. So I was passing by and I saw an orphanage home. So I walked into the place and I was asking them questions. This is the age range I want to start working with. Do you have them? And they were like, oh, we only have up to 4 years, but we can send you to a transition home, correctional center, where there are other girls in the age bracket 10 to 17 that you are looking for. And when I got there, they were like, oh, we are under the government. We don't give permission, authority over anything. Go write a letter.
Oh, no.
And of course, I did that letter. And they were like, oh, your letterhead is not properly okay. Bring it back in 1 month. Long story short, it took 6 months for them to approve a letter. So in that space of 6 months, I was looking for the next place where I can find vulnerable young girls who can actually benefit, because I really wanted to see girls going from basically nothing to something, and then being able to make success out of other people's lives was really what I wanted. So someone told me about Makoko, which is what you just saw. And I was like, okay, are you saying, I can find girls who are vulnerable, who may not have hope in life and everything? And I was told yes. So I went through 5 levels of contact to get into that space.
Wow.
I mean, you may have somewhere close to you, doesn't mean you have access into the place. Yeah. So, someone would know someone. I mean, in the 5 level of contact, I can tell you that there are probably 2 people I've not met today. And I walked into that place in 2015. So I've not met them because they just kept, take a number, call this person, till I got to the 5th person, and I was able to walk into the place. Then, of course, when I got in, I already told the last person, the 5th guy, to work on people for me. I mean, I don't live there. I don't know the culture, the system, what works. So the guy said, oh, I will get you the people that I know attend school. They will probably be the serious-minded people for what you need to do. So he told me he was going to get me 30 because I was asking for 30 for a pilot phase. And the day I was going to be talking to them, I spoke with 15 because only 15 showed up. And of course, I spoke for probably 5 hours. I lost my voice, just trying to convince them, because when I walked into this place, I wanted to run out because I was like, is it really technology they need or something else? Because it's like what I thought I was bringing to help them wasn't what they needed with the look of what you just saw. And what you just saw on the screen is probably one of the beautiful places there, which means there are places in that same space worse that you've not seen. So, but, I kept talking. I showed them pictures of people doing amazing work in technology. Of course, I told them about the Bill Gates, the Mark, the Facebook guys, everything, just to explain that they can actually make something out of their lives in tech.
Right.
Now, of course, I had to talk about how computer works, how technology started, everything. Then I got to the point whereby, because I had a bit of understanding of where I was coming to, and I know that money speaks.
Right.
So I was holding on to a note, which I can probably call $1. Yeah, $2, something like that. And I was like, what is this? They told me about it. So that got them talking to explain what money can do. So what can you do with this money? They were talking about different things. And I was like, so where can you get this money? Say, oh, we can be given by people. Like, okay, but what if you are the one giving this money out to people and everything? So I was like, so what can this money do? They're like, oh, you can buy chocolate, you can buy biscuits, you can buy cookies. So, that got them talking. But I was actually going somewhere with that because they are young people and they understand money above every other thing. So you need to know what language you need to speak to get them to the point where you need to get them to. So when they got to a point where they told me about everything money can do, and I was like, so would you prefer to always get money from people, or do you want to be in a position whereby you're the one giving money to people? And of course, everybody went with the fact that they want to be the one to give money to people. And I was like, do you know that technology can actually get you to that point if you learn to code, if you learn to use computer and everything? They're like, oh, that got them excited. We ran like 2 other programs there. Then we got to the point where we realized that this is not conducive. They need to see something different. They can't learn in the same slum where they were born, and you expect them to aspire to be something bigger than their reality. So we started using a friend's boardroom because we didn't have a space, we didn't really have funds, there was no resources, nothing besides the heart to really want to see change happen. So a friend was able to give me his boardroom to use on weekends because, of course, weekdays would never be available.
Right.
So we're running weekend classes. So from the 15 people I saw, when I told them to come out of the slum, 7 people showed up. So I was like, oh, with everything we've done, with how long we've spoken, with everything, what's going on? And then I had to go back to the slum again to start talking, mentoring, gathering people. Eventually, I stopped going to the slum. They started bringing themselves over to the office outside of the slum. And it got to a point that we're running up to, we're having 40 people in the class from the slum. One, they were seeing something different from what they're used to. They loved the fact that they were able to create games, which we started with code.org. They loved the fact that there were challenges they were overcoming using computer. These are things they don't see. Many of them had never seen computers before. And of course, feeding was a given. You should not have young people in a space for 5-6 hours and you won't feed them. So there was that.
Right.
And again, Makoko is a community whereby most people live under $2 a day.
Right.
So when you say there is food and there is a form of learning taking place, they start bringing their friends. And I was like, oh, then this class is so big, we have to break the class into 2. So it got to a point where we're training 14 to 17 in a different class in the same boardroom that we're using on weekends. Then we left the 10 to 13 in another space. So we were actually running 2 classes going on at the same time with different facilitators. And the facilitators were my friends working as volunteers. So that was how we started before we got to the point whereby we're like, we can't keep running once a week classes and we expect to see the kind of change we really want to see. Then we started thinking about having our own space where girls can actually come to every day from, after school classes, weekends. So what we thought was a big deal, which is the fact that we got a boardroom to use on Saturdays, became nothing To the point that we had to start looking forward to getting a physical space that the girls can use as a safe space, training space, everything they want to do. They see it as their space. But before then we ran another program for the same people that delayed me for 6 months, called me back and said, oh, we've approved your letter, you can come train. I was like, is it because you saw pictures and you saw girls excited and you see progress? What exactly? We didn't know, but we went to train them. At this point, we had to use the orphanage place, which was not conducive, but we ran an everyday program for 1 month. And then we're able to, while we're doing our monitoring and evaluation, stage, we realized that the people we trained every day for 1 month, they were more responsive and they were able to learn a lot because the training was more intense and they had a 1 month program, unlike the people were training once a week every Saturday. So you train on Saturdays, they forget everything throughout the week. They come back the next Saturday, you start again, all over. So realize that this training has to be so consistent on a daily basis. Not taking them out of their public school, which I think they call government school in the US, where the school is free, it's not a private school, they don't pay anything to be there and everything. So we're so excited when we're launching the space last year. It was like a dream come true. Of course, it didn't make sense to a lot of people that why we be launching a space for girls to learn for free. You're paying rent, power supply is there, internet is there, facilitators have to be paid. It looked crazy, but I felt I was doing something good, like the next stage of our program. So we launched this space. Of course, we didn't get any form of support when we were launching. It was just still family, friends, and personal consulting funds that actually came together for that to happen. And when we did, 2 months after, realized that the space became too small. So the space was able to take 50 girls at a time coding, but realized that more girls were trying to come in and we're turning them back. So we realized, so this is the space we thought we were going to, where we thought we've arrived, now became ridiculously too small because we were limited. So we realized that at this point, we can't say we've gotten to where we need to get to, then we need to keep moving again. Are we still there? Yes, but we run different programs now. Now looking forward to moving again to a bigger space.
Wow.
But what I can tell you happened in the space of having a one-off program in the boardroom and having a space where girls come to on a daily basis. We're able to actually churn out a couple of projects that the girls have been able to do. Some are transactional based, some are advocacy based. The transactional one is the Makoko Fresh. Now, the name is also very, very funny in a good way. Makoko is a place where it's termed to be a place where poor people live. And you're telling the world that something fresh can actually come out of such a place. And yet, majority of people love seafood. And since we launched it in September, we've had almost $1,000 worth of sales. And we are not even pushing it. Because we are not a business, but a business has come out of an NGO. Okay, what do we do? So now we're trying to create a life for it by itself, making sure that, whatever proceeds comes out of this, we help the people in the community and probably help the students pay their school fees eventually. So that is Makoko. Then there is the FGM, which is female genital mutilation. And these are projects that these girls are coming up with themselves because they have a space they call their own and they can be free to dream. And while they are dreaming, they are putting their dreams into action. So we realize that, then we really need safe spaces like this. We need training, we need hubs like this for girls. And not just girls, but girls who don't actually have the means or the access to such space. And there's a third project called Hope Baskets, connecting those who have and those who don't have together. So you have things in your house you don't need, declutter, some people come pick it up or you drop off. And those who need it, like some are beggars on the road, some are, less privileged people, they have those things, they get to have those things, and they use them. And these are projects these girls created themselves. Right now, when people call us for meetings, I'm here, meetings have been going on in Nigeria, and they tell me that companies are blown away by these girls because the girls go for meetings. 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and they go there and say, oh, this is what I'm working on, this is why I created this is why I feel, and they start talking like, oh, we need to work with you, we need to partner with your project, we need to do this with you in 2019. That is going on right now in Nigeria. So that's where we started, and this is where we are. Mentoring is a key part of what we do. It is, I mean, when we started, we pushed mentoring for later, but then we realized later on that mentoring was actually supposed to come first.
Right.
So we made a lot of mistakes, but we're able to learn from various things we did, either right or wrong.
So you've had a additional education and community mobilization the hard way, it sounds like. Starting with getting the government letter and not getting it, and getting someone else's letter.
Yes.
Achieving success. That's more. Now tell us about some of the success stories among these girls. So some of them obviously have been successful coders. Have any of them been able to get jobs yet, or is it too early, or how's that going?
It's too early for them to get jobs because of their age range.
Right.
And these are girls that were not thinking education. They were not even thinking university. Now they are thinking masters.
Right.
So because I found, and they were asking me questions as regards PhD, masters, I was like, where are you getting that from? But it's also good because in their space, the youngest mother in Makoko is 12 years old. So girls are seeing a reason to want to go to school, a reason to want to be better, a reason not to want to get married now, or a reason not to want to get pregnant now, is what they see. So jobs is not key on our mind right now. Right now they're employable, but we are not giving them those kind of jobs yet. They know better that their education in school is extremely important.
Right.
So we can't have you do great in our space and you do poorly in school. It's not allowed. They know because they have their results on the wall in the office. So everybody wants their results to be on the wall. So, I mean, their teachers in school actually tell us about these things, that we really want more girls to be in your center because we can see change. The girls were telling me recently, because I think we wanted them to come for a program in the office. I think BBC was coming to the office, and they wanted a time. This was last month. They wanted a particular time, and I told them, and they were like, oh, our principal is leaving today. We have to be there. And I said, how many of you? They said 6 of us. I said, what's going on? They said, we are all prefects. I was like, okay. And they said, but, and they were telling me that before we joined girls coding, we were not prefects. And for you to be a prefect, which is you have roles in school, you have those badges, you are in control, you must be brilliant. So when they told me that, when we joined, we were not prefects, but now we are prefects, so we have to be there for the principal. It's okay, no problem. When you're through, come over to the center for what we need to do. So that has been the case. So, and another part I didn't even tell you is the fact that when we started, a lot of parents didn't see sense in their girls learning technology. They actually told us to concentrate on their boys and leave their girls for them. And I mean, I didn't blame them. I just had to enlighten them on the role of, investing in the girl child and why it's extremely important. Right. Now they're telling me they will have nieces, they have their neighbors' children, and everybody's pushing their girls to our center that please, we just want them to be there because they can see what can happen when you invest in the girl child education.
Wow.
So are there jobs? People are asking us, pushing, and of course, because the gender gap in this digital space is wide. So right now, jobs are coming in for them. And we're like, okay, hold on, we don't want to entice them with money that they wouldn't think of education or they won't think of the school. But we want a situation whereby when they are graduating from secondary school or going to university, which is, from high school to college, they have practical experience.
Right.
Right now, they are thinking computer science. They were not thinking anything before.
Right.
Many of them were thinking what they could see, which is my mother sells something, a shop right there in front of the house, and that is what I want to do. Because these are questions we actually asked them when we started. What do you want to be when you grow up? They're like, they didn't know, nothing. Even though a part of them were thinking, just get pregnant, because most of their mothers were teenage mothers.
Right. So this coding project that you have them doing, that seems to be a mobile-friendly environment. Do the Makoko Fresh website, did the girls build that themselves?
They did.
That's amazing. Well, I heard them talking about JavaScript. That's pretty fancy. And they are they learning other entrepreneurship skills, or some of them starting their
Soft
thinking of starting their
skills.
own businesses, and
Yes.
how
Yes.
to wait for 6 months with a letter to
Even those who delayed us for 6 months, I told you, they were reaching out.
uh-huh.
And there are schools we actually reached out to saying, we want your girls to learn. And they were like, no, we don't know you. But now I think because of the international recognition, everyone is saying, please, we want you to come train girls. We have a lot of brilliant girls. You will want people to, and I'm like, okay, just hold on. Because one of the things we do is that girls from certain categories of environments,
Right.
they don't pay. We even give them, a form of stipend to
Right.
be in the office. But girls from privileged homes, they pay.
Aha, good.
Because even though that was not a part of our plan until parents started reaching out. Because when we put videos out there, we don't put videos of me. We put videos of the girls with the work that they do.
Right.
Even though I never knew that was attractive for a lot of parents, but they were like, oh, my girls are here and they don't know much. But these girls are coming from these places and they know so much. I want my girls to be part of the program. And so, oh, no problem, this is the bill. Because we have to be sustainable one way or the other.
Exactly. Well, congratulations. Now, are you thinking of franchising this, of having a
Oh,
chain
yes.
of
Yes, we're
training
working on
centers?
that right now. Yes, yes.
And what do you envision, say, 2-3 years from now?
Right now, we are in 2 states in Nigeria. We need to
Really?
spread to every other part of Nigeria. People are already asking in other parts of Africa. We also need to spread. I mean, we're working on building a girls' village where girls can actually live and learn. Right now, they're being distracted by all sorts. Some of them wake up as early as 4 in the morning. So they've taken the role of their parents. They are cooking, they are cleaning, they're doing everything before they go to school.
Yeah.
And when they come to the center, you just find them sleeping.
Mm.
Then you engage them, what's going on, why this, why that. So when we have a space like that where they are not distracted, when you are not in school, you are the tech incubation center, living, learning, and turning out projects, tech projects, solving problems in the communities. So yeah, we really have to get bigger than where we are right now, and we are even bringing in some other things into our curriculum in 2019, things like cybersecurity, blockchains, and the likes for them. Because if they are employable right now and they can do what a lot of graduates cannot do,
Right.
then you can imagine what they'll do when you introduce bigger programs to them. People are reaching out from the US to us asking, can they do some contract jobs? We're bringing jobs in. I'm like, okay, it won't be bad. I mean, it will take care of their school fees and probably some other things in the house, but give them a bit of time.
Yeah.
So yes, franchise, we're working on that.
Excellent. Michelle, is it? Are you guys in Nigeria currently?
We are.
Well, have you spoken to each other? Okay, very good. This lady invests in things like that, so I was delighted when I saw her walk in the room. Okay, so let me just turn around and see what questions, comments anyone in this room has. I'll point my little camera around. Speaking to the little can here. Any questions, comments? Yes, Emily.
So thank you and congratulations on your award and all the incredible work you're doing. So I didn't even really know, to be honest, exactly what you did. So this has been very exciting for me because starting January, I'm going to teach at the ACE program at the University of Maryland, which is cybersecurity. I'm going to be teaching leadership, inclusion, and diversity. And I was reading a lot of reports on cybersecurity because it is not at all my sector. And, only 11% of folks in the workforce here in the U.S. are women. And so I was wondering how, if you have, obviously you came from that sector in Nigeria, if you have a bigger understanding of the sector back home and where the girls fit in. And, John was talking about your vision, but kind of the long-term plan to also not just get them the skills, but actually change the sector itself because it is a very male-driven
Dominated,
sector.
yes.
So.
So do you have plans for transforming the whole sector? I think that was Emily's question.
We are going there. I mean, when I say people are actually reaching out to us for jobs for girls is because they know that most of the companies in Nigeria, you really find females there,
Right.
especially in tech. So the moment everybody found out that, oh, Abisoye, you're doing girls' school, they're like, oh, do you have this? We need someone in that. But we need girls. And we know that you are training girls. So do you have girls ready for jobs? And they're talking about for Nigerian settings, some nice kind of salary. And I'm like, oh my God, we need girls in this space. Because to be honest with you, there was a time we had 1 or 2 guys in the office, even though most of our facilitators are women, which is very, very intentional and deliberate. So I realized that the same job you gave to a guy that we gave to a girl, they did it differently. So, there was a way the girl was building the website, and there was a way the guy did it. And I saw the difference, and I was like, okay, there's nothing bad in having both gender in the same space, not just the guys. I saw this like, a practical experience. Even though I know that there's supposed to be more women in this space, but we don't have that going on. There are very, very, very few. But people are reaching out every day saying, are there girls ready for jobs? We have jobs for them. But we don't have girls ready for those kind of jobs yet. But I can tell you in the next 5 years, you'll have them. So are we trying to change that notion? Yes. We're trying to get to that point whereby you're not really looking for, when you put out an application, you have so many qualified females applying. Is where we need to get to.
Very good. Rebecca?
So I know you just told us a story about how this has all been developing. I was wondering if you could even go back to maybe give us a little bit more of the prequel, because before you were trying to get access to these spaces and maybe learn what was needed on the ground. Where were you coming from? It sounds like you were having sort of a personal transformation, but I'm also interested as somebody who is trying to kind of get a startup organization off the ground. It sounds like you didn't necessarily come in with a really developed model for sustainability in hand yet, that it was very sort of driven by need. And so can you tell us a little bit more about, those early days and how that was working?
I'll think you probably want me to talk about a bit of where I got my own training experience and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Oh, and we'll put this in your shaft here.
Well, as I said, I had a bit of a rough background.
Yeah.
Which means, of course, when you lose a mom at the age of 3, in a space like Nigeria where you probably have 100 slots for you to get into school, and you have 5,000 people trying to get that slot. So everybody is saying, I know someone in this space, as a result, I'll get you in. And in my case, there was nobody to get me into anywhere. So it was a case of not really doing much, but going for trainings in computer institutes while looking for admission into school. So I done a lot of certifications before I started in an IT audit firm, EDP Audit and Security Associates. So what they do, you get trained in a lot of programming languages because the goal is for you to become an auditor eventually. But because there are so many terminologies and so many models and so many things you need to know before you get to that point. So we're doing Oracle database training and certifications. Then we did the MCSD 5 exams in one. Then I was about getting into networking. I was like, okay, I think I need to put a stop here. What can I do with what I have now?
Right.
In all of this, I was not even in the university yet. So I had peers that we finished school together and they were graduating and I wasn't in school yet. But I was in that space. Even though because in Nigeria, you need to hold a certificate like as a den. You need to have a form of degree for people to actually say, okay, maybe you should get a job, maybe this, maybe that. So I knew that I needed to go to school and also have that on the side. So it got to a point I actually gained admission into school and I was like, I'm already in this space for 2 years, learning so much, mingling with people who are way older than me and more experienced than me. I'm not going to a full-time school. So I eventually combined work and school together for a period of 8 years. So eventually I had basically this degree, this certification, this. I was like, okay, we're moving forward. So there was a lot of presentations, fraud detection tools, and how to use it to help companies recover stolen funds, discover ghost workers, duplicate records. So I had all that in mind before I started university. And so with that kind of transformation.
So you were starting university with the skills of a high-level
Yes.
fraud detection
Yes.
person in
Programmer.
Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So even when I was in school, and I was in school working, and when I'm sitting down with my classmates and I sit down with computers, my brain goes, are you, helping one company discover, the ghost workers, or are you, working on duplicate records? Are you using, because I know so much about the advanced of Excel, Microsoft Excel, and we're using all this command language in my place of work. So I was really disturbed that what's going on, computers can be doing so much more, and I see people using it to watch movies. Some were actually playing games. Now, I was actually disturbed till I actually organized a conference as a student in school, and we had over 2,000 people in attendance.
Whoa.
And I was a student in the same school. I even registered a company right there, consulting firm, because I needed to reach out to companies to get sponsorship and everything. So with that, and even when I got, everybody filled their feedback forms, and I went through over 2,000 of them, just checking people's comments. What did they say? Was it a good one? To be honest, it wasn't the easiest form of work because I was stressed out. I actually broke down a day after the conference because everybody said it was successful because we had over 2,000 people in attendance. No one has done that before in that school. But I did that because of where I was coming from.
Right.
Because I really wanted it. I mean, everything was about, I think you deserve to be a computer literate. Or everybody deserves to be a computer literate was the theme of the conference. And we had students in attendance. I didn't even want to be seen. So I was just walking behind the scene looking for speakers. I was also speaking and everything. So when I went through, the feedback forms, people were like, there were actually more guys in that space than the girls. So I was wondering, where are the females in this school? Because even where I work, we're very few. And when we go for conferences outside, you find one woman, 40 men. So it's been something that's been disturbing my brain for a very long time. I wasn't even sure what I was going to do. So when that conference ended, I was like, we still need more girls in this space. So I wasn't satisfied till I started Pearls Africa Girls Coding. So I started looking for girls where they can be found and knowing that they cannot afford it. So your question, which is the fact that I didn't step in with probably a form of sustainability. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I was just looking for a form of purpose and fulfillment. So it wasn't, okay, and I need this job and this is what I'm going. That wasn't the case. It was just, so what do I need to do in my life right now? What can actually give me a sense of fulfillment right now? And of course, because I didn't go to school to learn NGO or to learn, a form of, I just stepped in. It was a risk and learning on the job while at it.
Right. So how was the CNN experience?
Well, knowing that I didn't even start this work because of fame or recognition, never heard about CNN Heroes when I started, actually. A family member nominated me last year, and we actually were joking about it because I was like, whatever. Because when people say, I'm nominating you for an award, I was like, whatever. Because it has gotten to the fact that we need so much resources, so much money to do so much in the country, Nigeria, to looking for recognition, an award. So when my sister was, talking about it, I was like, okay, just let me make you happy, do the thing. So even when the call started coming in April this year, I thought it was a joke because I thought it was a spam mail. And I got 2 mails saying a follow-up, and I was like, follow-up to what? And I went to check it, and I was like, call from CNN. I was like, no, it's not happening, right? Because I was like, okay, there's CNN Africa, and this is coming from CNN International. What's going on? I mean, they never said it was CNN Heroes. It was just call from CNN. So I felt, wow, what can this do for my work right now? So my work can actually, expand. People can know about this work. Maybe we can get partners, collaborators, and everything. I was like, oh, maybe this is a good thing. Let me just give it attention. So we had a call, we had mails back and forth, hundreds of mails, vetting, everything. before our story actually got approved for a shoot. So I've never seen an interview that intense before. Never. And I think I've done a lot. So I've never seen that to that degree. So yeah, when my story got approved for a shoot, I mean, it was like, wow, this is happening. And to now be the first Nigerian in 12 years, so there was no one to ask questions. So what goes on? What is the aftermath? What am I supposed to do? No one to ask questions. I was like, well, at this point, just be you and put yourself out there and put your work out there. And that was what I did. So I never knew we'll probably make it or have a shoot or be on top 10. I mean, top 10 was even far from your story being approved. Because story being approved is your story being shown everywhere. That's big enough because our girls start getting opportunities from that exposure alone.
Yep.
People were already reaching out for the girl in the video to go to Harvard already. People were reaching out with jobs. We have jobs for your girls. Can you bring them in? Can we come over to your office? We have so many meetings just because of the exposure, not even the top 10. The top 10 was a bigger thing, which was not by voting. I mean, top 10 was actually picked from 25 of us from all over the world. So, and of course, to win the CNN Hero of the Year, people have to vote. So I guess we didn't have enough votes, so we didn't win it. But being on that platform is big enough.
Right.
And anyone who was on the platform, they're all winners. Everybody, because we're all doing amazing work.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we realized that, Subaru is actually doing a form of grant matching, which means if you can raise 50K between now and the 2nd of January, they can match with another 50.
Wow.
So we realized that, so we've been reaching out to all our partners, supporters, everybody. Can we raise 50K so that we can get an extra 50? So the 100K we were looking for is actually coming to meet us if we can raise our 50. So what do we have now? $21,000.
Okay, so 29,000 more.
To go.
Okay,
in 2 weeks.
reach into those pockets. I'm sure there must be $29,000 in this room or our friends. Other questions, comments? Yes, please, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I was late. I got lost. My name is Silvana Falaci, and I'm new to Church World Service. I'm the Senior Director for Development and Humanitarian Assistance, so thank you for the invitation and being here. I wanted to know probably you discussed them already, but I've worked in Nigeria before, and what sort of objections and barriers from the social cultural side you had to, because obviously women's roles in every country are extremely rooted, and you're breaking those stereotypes, and even in the US, or having girls coding has to be promoted and etc. So I just wanted to know a little bit more, and who played an important role to help you debunk those stereotypes and break those cultural, social barriers that you encountered.
Well, I can say it was very, very difficult not having a form of role model in this space. To say someone who's gone ahead of you, who succeeded, raised money, was sustainable, can I sit down with you? Can you tell me what you did? I didn't have anything like that. But there was one thing I think I had, because even when I didn't understand what I was doing, because when I started, I never knew the space I was stepping into is such a big deal in the developed countries. I never knew. I was just like, I'm taking a risk, let me just step into it. But I have a feminist as a husband. Right here.
Right on.
So even when I'm like, I'm tired, I don't understand, this is going on, they'll be like, just continue, don't worry. Now, like, but it's stressful, they'll be like, just go ahead. And for instance, when there was a time I needed to get a grant, I think it was $8,000 4 years ago, and I didn't have my company registered. So, I mean, it was looking so good that, oh my God, the first grant we're ever going to get. And coming from such an organization, it was actually U.S. Embassy in Nigeria. I'm like, this is massive. Having to do anything with this body was actually great. But I was almost giving up on that because I was like, we are not registered. What can we do? I mean, all these things are processes. So we were able to, it's like we got halfway, And I was encountering that. And I was like, well, too bad. I'll probably just continue without grants and just keep looking for volunteers, trying to work for free. My time and life was actually in it already. And it was like, oh, I have a mentor who has, an NGO that's been like 20 years old, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing, I became a subsidiary on their own, on their own NGO. So, I never knew anything like that till I was discussing. I was like, I'm tired, this is stressful. And, registering our own organization was taking forever. And I'm like, but this is looking good. This was like a positive thing happening to say, continue, was the grant coming in. It wasn't a lot, but was something better than nothing at that point. So, till I became a subsidiary under that organization, it made me realize later on that you may not even need to have everything when you're starting out. But you can also have partnerships with bigger NGOs who probably believe in you and trust you. Because we actually did the MOU signing and everything. So they received the funds on our behalf, and we got it back when we registered.
Okay, let me add something else to that, actually. 2 years ago, this same girl that you saw in the video, our parents could literally just sign her off to us. That just take our daughter, because they had 16 children. And over the last couple of months, now that they've seen the potential of the girl, they are now very protective of the girl. They come now to the school and say, oh, we are the parents of the girl.
Yeah.
Nobody should, because other NGOs and companies are trying to,
were reaching out.
just to get part of the whole
CNN buzz,
right? So they're now like, oh, I am the father of the girl. Please don't talk to the foundation. And what it shows really is that these girls are going to break the stereotype eventually. And what we are trying to do, and what we're going to do more with Abisoye, of course, she being this figure, and these young girls, there are some that are going to be featured on BBC very soon. They are going to now signal back into these communities that your girls actually have that same economic potential as your boys. And see this girl, these are what these other girls can do. And hopefully, with some success with groups like the IDPs, the North, I don't know if you're familiar with Nigeria.
We bring back our girls.
Right, so we have this, the Northeast in Nigeria is basically in a state of war, and they are internally displaced people. So the child marriage and all sorts, some social vices are really rife there. If we can now get those girls as well to come do some amazing things and use them to signal back into the system that this is actually the economic value of training the girl child, then we'll keep breaking the stereotypes. So I can say that it's just starting, and this is our own experience.
For instance, there was something you mentioned about the IDP girls. I need to probably step back a little. I don't know if you've heard about Bring Back Our Girls, the Chibok affected girls. So some of them actually fled from Borno State to Lagos, and we got to know about them one way or the other. There was a particular girl that was with us last year for a summer program, because whenever they're coming from far away, we lodge them somewhere close to the center where they are not distracted or having to travel 4 hours back home, coming back in the morning. So they're with us like 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away from the center and everything. That happened in summer. When it was actually December, when it's December like that, we don't do coding. We just do shopping, free shopping. So we get good things from various people, bursary and everything, and we actually give it to girls. So they come in, they shop for free, just having a nice form of December. So this particular period, I got to know about a girl called Janet. She told me she gained admission to a university, but of course not in Lagos. She had to go back to the north, which I was like, okay, no problem. So we actually gave her just little amount of money $150 to support the school fees. Do you know that the girl actually told me and showed me her results? She was on a first class just because of a little intervention. I mean, she was telling me, she said, I got 4.67 GP. And I'm like, okay, we gave you just $150. It's not because we knew that she was the most brilliant or anything. We're just trying to support the girl child. So even though we do coding, computer programming, mentoring, when they come in and say, oh, I have this exam I need to write, we support in those areas. We were actually shocked because I didn't even know the brilliancy that the girl has or the kind of potential educationally that she had. We're just trying to support. So right now, she stood out currently. Other girls are saying, okay, I also have school fees. And I'm like, you don't just say you have school fees. You are bringing back 4.67 or 4.7. I said, because when you do that, opportunities like this will come up. The girl, for instance, what we had to do to reward such efforts, we're like, okay, you don't have a laptop. We'll give you a brand new laptop as an organization. Because we want other girls to see that, oh, when I'm serious in school, when I'm serious in life, there may be opportunities for me.
Wonderful. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Abisoye, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm very, very proud of you. I am Onyinye Ede. I'm also, I'm Nigerian American, actually. But yeah, sorry I was late. It's a bit crazy getting here today. But anyway, kudos to your husband.
Thank you.
Way to support her. I was so excited when I saw you on screen together. My question is, yes, I'm sorry if you've addressed this already, but I'm very interested in the girls, especially the girls in the slum communities, in terms of looking forward. I think my background, I'm a public health researcher, and I also work on girls' education in rural communities. And I noticed that we want to promote a culture of, even when you get opportunities, you get the exposure, you can come back and work with the girls in your community. Like, we have a mentorship program, we support girls to college, but the requirement is that on holidays they come back and do some kind of program. And I'm reminded of the movie Queen of Catway. I don't know if you've seen it. Yes, she gets this exposure and she comes back, and it's a very interesting feeling. So I'm just curious to know, is it something that you all have begun to see? How are you preparing for the next level for these girls? Especially the one that sticks out to me is Makoko Fresh. I'm not sure what year she is in school now, but what are her plans? If Harvard wants to take her, that's awesome. And but how is she planning to come back to the community? Because I think that's my concern, especially working in development. How do we ensure that people don't just go? And the pull factor is very great. Harvard, you come to the US and you stay. So I'm just curious about
It's a valid question. Thank you. The thing with the girl in question, this particular girl that has gone basically global, is the fact that she started school late. So her peers with the same age range, they are in year 2. She has 3 more years to go to get to that point. Again, as he said, the father gave birth to 16 children. The mother makes about, I think, $20 a day if she goes out to sell fish.
Or more like $10.
Or more than $10. That's 3,000 naira. So that's $10 a day. There's a whole lot more about people from this place that if I start talking about it today, we won't live where we are. There's so much more about them. So in her case, she's in school, a boarding school right now, which she wasn't last year. And we know that how much can you do when you don't spend all the time with them? You tell them one thing, they're telling them 10 things in Makoko. So the one thing you say does not even bear so much. But with the fact that she's in a boarding school now, mingling with other people not from Makoko, I've personally seen the change. I've seen the transformation. Then the most beautiful part of it for me was when she actually told me that she encourages people right now in school. She sees people down and she goes to meet them and talk to them. And I'm like, okay, I didn't tell you this and I'm happy you're doing it. Because it just shows that, because for you to really make a real change, it must come from here. It's not really about the money. You can have the money and not make a change. So if she's having the heart already to want to see change happen in other people's lives, this girl is already thinking of having a computer center in Makoko. Makoko has 400,000 people living there. That place I just showed you.
Wow.
So it is, even though she's not going to Harvard yet for another 3 years, she's still going to be in Lagos, in good schools, because a lot of people are reaching out to actually, sort that out when it comes to education, getting her to better schools and everything. But I'm just telling you what is going on here right now. There's a transformation taking place of wanting to see people better than the way they are, which was also what I also started doing. Want to see young people better. So yes, she's going to transform Makoko. I'm hoping, but I can see it has started already. So if she goes to Harvard, she will come back to Nigeria, and she's coming to change where she was born.
Beautiful. Well, it's time for us to have our party now and celebrate you more informally, but I really deeply appreciate your spending time with us and sharing this story with us. I mean, everybody here is dedicated to doing something to elevate the likelihood of people finding what you are bringing to so many girls in Makoko. So congratulations, and
Thank you
for being with us.
Thank you.
Mary Kate, who organized this, I want to thank her. Do you want to say anything about the party that we're about to have?
So we have a variety of white and red wines, some soda waters, there's teas, and then I made some cookies yesterday, and then we also have cheeses and carrots, so help yourself and enjoy each other, and we'll put on some tunes, and you can get to know Abby a bit more personally and get to know each other. And thank you so much for coming. It means a lot to elevate her even more, and especially highlight what she's doing to a concentrated development community, as John mentioned, since we all have such a strong passion for this. So we're excited to enjoy time with everyone, and let's drink and be merry.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Can we have a picture?